There we go. Okay, good afternoon, Miss Sai. I have Hereditary Chief and Elder Advisor, the needs of case Richard William. Please share any knowledge of saan na kay skak ng kapalis la two bits napari la two tete oh natil sa takas two bits ayipi saan ni pas la anything that you might know of or know or who gave you some knowledge. Maybe you could speak about that, Richard.
All right. Hati, my name is Richard Williams, Hereditary Chief Denise Place. I was raised by Mary C. Williams, Charlie McDonald. Um, I was born when my mom was 13 years old and couldn't look after me. She was too young, so Grandma took over my responsibility, and that's what our system calls for. When a woman has a baby at too young of age and doesn't have enough experience or whatever, don't have employment. I guess things were tough back then when I was born. But anyways, Granny took over and raised me right from when I was an infant. Her and Charlie McDonald, they took turns. My Uncle Charlie showed me things out on the land, and Granny pretty much did like the household stuff, how to look after how the house runs. Hunting and all that was Uncle Charlie's job. So those two were responsible of being my mom and my dad. So and my mom shortly after got older and remarried up Takla, and I continued to stay with Granny. But over the years, um, Granny we used to tell me that she was a midwife, eh? You
Mm-hmm.
know what midwives do, eh?
Yeah.
They they uh, they go to wherever there's women having babies, and be the doctor sort of, eh?
Ma-
Uh, help with the firstborn babies and problems with babies when they're born. There were no doctors, I guess, back then. Nurses, nobody. So midwives has been around. Granny said she got called many times, so many times that you know my wife was talking to me about it a few days ago, asking me if what my granny told me about midwife. So everything's everybody's phoning all at one time. Anyways, um, just they just got a phone. I don't know. There must be a signal somewhere.
yeah.
Anyways, my granny used to tell me that she's done it so many times, she can actually tell if it was a stillborn baby. If
Mm-hmm.
babies were born dead, you know, they can tell if they can revive it or not. Or she was telling me, I told my wife, she said, I told her that, Granny knew these people that she's going to deliver babies for. And she sort of could recognize what kind of problems to look for, because if a woman was not doing anything, laying around a lot, then there's going to be some formalities. There's going to be something, because a woman lays down too much, the baby is
Yeah.
going to have something wrong because not moving around. Or if a woman is out and about, active, very active, you're
Mm-hmm.
going to have babies with uh, their umbilical cord wrapped around their necks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Those kind of problems that she can recognize.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes she has to turn the baby before it's born, because you, you're going to have a reverse babies, and that's really hard and
Mm-hmm.
dangerous. The one she was telling me about was the worst one ever she had was her own nephew, Frank McDonald. When he was born, I guess he was all blue, like he's a stillborn baby, because it was family members. She tried everything that she knows to revive that little guy, and finally she said, "My last effort was to put him in hot water and just put him in warm water, and then all of a sudden he started crying, screaming out everything." And he said that was the worst scenario she's ever experienced, being midwives. And like you get hurt and stuff like that. Like they have medicine for everything. Like Granny has all kinds of medicine. She wouldn't tell me most of the good medicines, like Devil's Club for cold remedy, like that virus that came around. I think Devil's Club had something to do with my survival, because I used it right through the pandemic. My house was, free of germs because I had Devil's Club boiling 3 times a day right through the 3 months that I was home. We were quarantined at home, self-quarantine, and didn't let children out. Things like that, that we used for our medicine. Devil's Club was used for many kind of rubbing. You can add different plants to it. You can use it for rubbing aches and pains, if you got sore knees. And if you have a cut on your hand and stuff like that, she would use spruce gum. When you go spruce tree in the summer, it's all clear. It looks like white glue. That's the good stuff, she says. If you got a big open wound there, just put some of that on your open wound, and it'll heal rapidly. And I experienced that at one time years ago, when Granny had a lot of visitors right around Easter or something. Sometimes fall, sometimes middle of summer. But anyways, this was around July. Everybody come from Fort Babine, Tatchet, Old Fort, and families used to stay with one another. But anyways, Adam Williams and his wife Susie was a teenager that time. They came stay with us. Sometimes Alec Casimil, the late Alec Casimil, the guy whose name I hold, the needs office.
Yeah.
Sometimes him and Zuli would come stay with us. Everybody took in out of towners, and they were close family. We were so close. But anyways, getting at the spruce tree gum, Susie, when she was a youngster, she fell down and cut her knees open right here and busted open. They came into our house and she was crying. And Grandma said, "What happened?" Mary said she fell down outside, hit her knees on the rock, split it open. And then Grandma told me, "Richard, go over into the bush and get some tree gum, the white stuff. Aye, and Granny could start cleaning the wound, with hot water and everything, cleaned it real good. And I got some on a little stick, and she went and put that on there. By the evening, it never even swelled up at all. It was nice and clean. Put some fabric on it. Them days they didn't have gauze and big bandages or anything. Just white sheets or something, and wrapped it up. But it worked. It within 3 or 4 days, it was all healed, the cut, and those are the things that I seen happen. And Granny showed me some, and Uncle Charlie said that very same stuff. If you're out hunting and you're thirsty, you know how middle of winter you start packing heavy stuff and you're thirsty. He said, grab some of that gum, that same tree gum, except it's yellow there. You see the big yellow, big clump on a spruce tree. He said, chop a little bit out of that and chew it all up. You know what they say about Buckley coal mixtures?
No.
They say it tastes ugly, but it works. Same thing. that tree gum tastes ugly, but you know, I never got thirsty anymore chewing that stuff,
Yeah.
walking. Things like that we know of, um, these old folks, they taught me, and because of them today, I live my tradition. Because of them, I know everything in the feast hall.
Yeah.
My movement. I was sort of the youngest man to ever hang on to a name of that magnitude, the big name.
Yeah.
The Nitzakis is a very big name.
Mm-hmm.
An elder carries that.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was passed down upon me, I promised the whole community that I would do right by them, do the best that I can
Mm-hmm.
to hang on to this name, in which I've been
Mm-hmm.
all these years now. I had that name, and I don't drink very much. I don't go out partying and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We go to a fishing lodge, eh?
Mm-hmm.
After trapping and stuff like that, it's time to clean up the fishing lodge, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Every year you gotta clean out the smokehouse, clean the poles, eh? Grandma used to go there, burn a big fire already as soon as
Yeah.
we land, take all the poles out of the smokehouse and put it in the fire, just sort of like cleaning it up, eh?
Mm-hmm.
You know, burn all the germs off the
Mm.
pole, because you have fish on it previous years, eh?
Mhm.
Still a bunch of fish fiber on it, and it's no good. You get sick if you don't clean your poles. So
Mhm.
that's what the grandma does, eh? Sort of sterilize the pole
Yeah.
beginning of the year. Same with Jajip, that when you hang fish outside to dry
Mhm.
for evening,
Yeah.
do the same thing. She builds fire. And poor granny, I had my smokehouse
Mhm.
2 years ago. My smokehouse door opens only halfway, and there's a big boulder there. So my wife now, she got tired of it. Said, "Why don't you dig that big rock out of the way, and we'll open that smokehouse wide open, so we don't have to run into it."
Mhm.
So I start digging, and it was a rock about this size,
Mhm.
oblong rocks. I took it out, and right underneath it was another one, and another one,
Mhm.
and another one. There must be like about 12, 13 of them, big ones.
Mhm.
Then I remembered, where did Granny put all that spring salmon net rocks? She used to have big rocks for spring salmon net.
Mhm.
Them days you didn't have lead lines. You tie those big rocks. Spring salmon net was like about 8 inches. The
Mhm.
web used to catch about 150-pound springs back then. Now you're lucky if you catch 80 pounds.
Mhm.
They're not that big anymore.
Mhm.
But I still have Granny's old spring salmon net rocks down there. I dug it all up, and I have it just right next to the cabin. Um, Wife wants to make a big cement memorial for Granny. These are Granny's spring salmon rocks memorial, eh? So I save them for that. One of these days, Granny's going to have a memorial statue, a little plaque down at St. Esley.
Mhm.
Build it for her, but that's what we do. We right now we've been at the cabin every weekend since Mother's Day. My
Mhm.
wife and I, we come home late last night, tired as hell. You know, brought all our children there.
Mhm.
My children, my son JR came home, brought his children and his grandchildren. I brought my children, Katie and Warren and Kirsty and Jamal. We had a house full. It was beautiful. We had lots done, eh?
Yeah.
Started the new washroom, eh? The washroom's been used like those fisheries. Anybody down the river uses that, so
Mhm.
it's a very busy washroom. We're replacing that this weekend, and
Mhm.
a storage shed. Mom said, we got so much junk, you need to build a storage shed, eh?
Mhm.
Just lay bay, yeah, they call
Yeah.
it, eh? So that's what we've been doing over the weekend. We've got a beautiful the smokehouse,
Mm-hmm.
the cabin there. The kids will love it. We had a good weekend,
Mm-hmm.
and when the fish comes, my daughter Colleen's gonna come down,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna try to bring my baby that's crippled up. We're gonna try to bring her for a couple of nights and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
My poor baby's suffering in the hospital right now.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing we can do because of the lockdown and everything. It's pretty hard. We've been hit hard with trauma, this family.
Mm-hmm.
My wife and I, and my own health.
Mm-hmm.
I had an open heart surgery 3 months ago, and I'm just getting some therapy for it, taking
Mhm.
counseling. It's a pretty rough ride. It's been last 6 years since I met my wife. Her and I have had a lot of trauma in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Just sickness and accidentals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just when you think something else is not going to happen, it happens.
Yeah.
That kind of bad luck we fell on. But it's been great. Otherwise, yeah, children are all happy. They're
Mhm.
not drinking and stuff like that. You know, after Farah's accident,
Mm-hmm.
everybody sort of learned a lesson and they quit. But still, some of the family are still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't learn from. So those are the things that have been taught to me.
Yeah.
I'm, you know, quite a lot. These old folks have taught me.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't old at the time when I was a baby. My
Mhm.
granny must have been like about 40 years old
Mm-hmm.
when I was a baby. My uncle probably, my uncle Charlie is younger than my granny, so that's
Mhm.
he's probably like in the 45 or something, 40
Mm.
years old.
Mm-hmm.
In that area, when I was born, uncle and their brothers and sisters, my
Yeah.
grandma and my uncle Charlie.
Yeah.
My uncle Charlie is the baby boy of the family.
Mm-hmm.
Grandma loved him. They were beautiful. We had such a beautiful family,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful upraising, like taught me everything. Without them, I don't think I could make it this far.
Yeah.
They were my rock,
Mm-hmm.
my mom and my dad.
Mm-hmm.
They played the mom and dad role, and I do a lot of things. Like there's a lot of things I can say, but they tell me I don't have much time, so I better shut this off before I start talking about. I never can stop me. So, Seth how dit na kailat yen tagal I can't stop. But I'm well known for that. I just I start talking, I don't quit. But I'll just quit here, and I'm glad for this interview. That must be already like about half hour, anyways.
Yeah.
Half hour's worth. And I'm glad to share the story. But next time you want some more stories, just let me know, and I'll tell you things.
Yeah.
I have some fishing gaff in my garage right now. I'm working on just
Yeah.
to show and tell to all the young people that don't know that we used to have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I have it down in my garage.
Mm-hmm.
Just sort of like a replica.
Yeah.
Just to show them, but it's real.
Mhm.
Made the hook myself, put it on, different from the way Wet'suwet'ens, they gaff, they pull on our people, our men, they spear it,
Mhm.
hook face forward. They stand in front of the boat in the front, and the one person is steering the boat, and they gaff. That's the real gaffing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a pastime for the elders after they've done all the fish, the work the men had to do. It's like what the men do nowadays in the modern days. They have their fly fishing rod. They smoke cigar. They fly fish. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that's what the men do back then with the gaffs. Just take it easy. Have some fun gaffing. They try to gaff big spring salmon. Anyways, that's enough.
Yeah.
Say goodbye. And thanks for the interview.
Thank you. This is Hereditary Chief and Elder Advisor, the Nitzot Qais, Richard William. Thank you for your story and your knowledge. Masai Cho.
Thank you.